It's still dark, so dark that the outlines of the city are barely discernible in the pre-dawn gloom. The air is cold, the cobblestones are damp with the night dew, and across these stones runs a woman. She runs alone, through the narrow, still-sleeping streets of Jerusalem. She is running there, beyond the city walls, to the place that had haunted her dreams throughout that endless Sabbath. Her name is Mary Magdalene. She had not slept. 2 days without sleep, if one does not count those brief moments when oblivion came over her like a stone, only to release her back into the pain. The man she had followed for 3 years, the man who had changed everything in her life, had been publicly executed 2 days earlier. He had simply spoken a word, and 7 demons had left her, and she had been set free. She had seen it with her own eyes, not from a distance, not through the accounts of others. She stood there, at the foot of the cross with the other women, when the male disciples had scattered. She heard every hammer blow, every breath he drew. She saw the Roman soldier pierce his side, saw the final convulsion pass through his body. She watched as Joseph of Arimathea and Nicodemus took his body down from the cross, bloodied, broken, from the wooden beams. She saw them wrap him in burial linens, and hurriedly, because the Sabbath was drawing near, carry him into the garden. She saw them roll the great round stone into its groove before the entrance. She sat opposite the tomb and watched as the Roman guard affixed the seal. She knew where they had laid her Lord, and now she is running to that tomb, because the Sabbath is over. That enforced stillness had ended, the ritual rest that restrained the body, but not the soul. And now she could do the last thing love could still do for him: complete the burial rites, to finish what had been left undone in the Friday rush. She carries the spices. She carries the spices. She carries the fragrant oils to anoint the body she believed she was saying farewell to forever. And then she arrives, and she stops dead in her tracks. Something is wrong. At first she does not understand what exactly. It is still dim. Her eyes are adjusting to the darkness. And then, suddenly, realization crashes over her. The stone has been moved. The very stone she had seen, the enormous one that only several strong men could have moved, lies off to the side. The tomb is open. She peers inside and does not see the body. It is gone. Everything she had left. The dead body of the teacher. Even that is no longer there. The last thread, the final object of her care and love, has simply vanished. She does not understand what has happened. Her mind swirls. Could they have moved him? Could he have been stolen? Maybe the Romans had decided to desecrate even the dead. And she runs back, just as she had run here. But now there is not only grief inside her, but panic. She finds Peter and John, the disciple whom Jesus loved. She breathes out to them, "They have taken the Lord from the tomb, and we do not know where they have laid him." Peter and John spring into action. They run to the tomb. John, being younger, outruns Peter. He looks inside and sees the burial linens lying there, neatly folded. Peter rushes in after him and sees the same. The shroud, the headcloth, rolled up separately. The gospel says that they saw and believed. But what exactly did they see? The burial cloths lay as if the body had simply stepped out of them, not unraveled, not removed, but left behind like a cocoon. No one had taken the dead body. Anyone who intends to steal a body does not take the time to carefully fold burial cloths. And then comes the verse that most people read without noticing its quiet weight of emptiness. John 20:10. They went back to their own homes. Peter and John went back home. They saw the empty tomb, they saw the burial cloths, and they went home. Perhaps in confusion, perhaps with a dawning, not yet fully formed fear of what this might mean. But they left. But Mary does not. Mary stays. She does not go home. Where would she go? The place that had been her last point of contact has become empty. The home where she lived was not a home without him. She stands outside the tomb by the gaping opening in the rock, and she weeps. The Greek text uses the word kleio, which means to cry aloud, to mourn openly. Not quiet tears, but sobbing that shakes the whole body. There are not many moments in the Gospel where human pain is shown so openly and unguardedly, and this is precisely the scene where the miracle bursts in. What happens next in the 20th chapter of John is perhaps one of the most intimate, theologically rich, and most misunderstood moments in the entire New Testament. Mary is weeping, but even through her tears she bends down to look once more inside, into the darkness, into the place where only a few days earlier the body had lain. And suddenly she sees light, or not light, but two angels in white, sitting where the body of Jesus had been, one at the head, the other at the feet. This is an image that any first-century Jew would immediately recognize. Two cherubim on the cover of the Ark of the Covenant, over the place where the glory of God was said to dwell. John does not comment, does not explain. He simply shows. This tomb has become a new Holy of Holies, a throne room where death is overcome by the presence of God. The angels ask her, "Woman, why are you weeping?" And she replies with the same words she had spoken to the disciples. "They have taken away my Lord, and I do not know where they have laid him." Notice this. Even the appearance of angels does not distract her. She is so consumed by her loss that the presence of heavenly messengers evokes neither fear nor wonder. She simply repeats her grief, like a record stuck on its loop. And in that moment, she turns. She sees a man. He is standing behind her, in the garden, and she does not recognize him. The very man for whom she had lived the past 3 years. The one whose every feature she knew, whom she had followed from a distance, whose words she had listened to on the hills of Galilee. She looks straight at him and sees a gardener. Why? This question has troubled interpreters for 2,000 years. Perhaps her eyes were full of tears. Perhaps it was still too early, and the light was only just beginning to color the eastern sky. Perhaps the risen body of Jesus was different, not unrecognizable, but not entirely the same as before, either. Substantial and physical, yet transformed in the way Paul would later describe it. A spiritual body, a body that has passed through death and emerged on the other side, still bearing the wounds, yet no longer subject to the laws of decay. But there is also a third reason. She simply did not expect it. The dead do not rise. In her universe, as in ours, the crucified do not appear as gardeners beside their own tomb. Her mind refused to see what her eyes were already looking at. And then Jesus speaks a single word, simply her name, Mary. The Greek text preserves the personal name, Maria, but the tone of that moment, the intonation, that very voice she had heard hundreds of times, it pierces through the veil of her grief. And instantly she understands. She turns toward him. The text says that she turned to him, as though until then she had been speaking while half turned away, still peering into the empty tomb. And she breathes out in Aramaic, Rabboni. John deliberately preserves the Aramaic word in the Greek text because it carries a meaning that cannot be conveyed by a single translation. Rabboni is not merely teacher. The suffix oni means my teacher, my master. It is a deeply personal and intimate form of address, the one who taught, who knew, who became the center of my life. Mine. She reaches out to him, and this movement is the most natural, the most human thing in the world. You thought you had lost him forever, and now he stands before you, alive. Of course you would seize him. Of course you would cling with all your strength, because you would never, ever let him go again. And at that moment, Jesus speaks 4 words that have perplexed readers of the Bible for 2,000 years. Do not touch me. 4 words spoken by the risen Jesus to the very first person who ever saw him alive after the resurrection. And those 4 words have been debated, reinterpreted, mistranslated, and misunderstood ever since. Stay with me, because the answer to why Jesus spoke those 4 words reveals something about the resurrection that most people have never seen. To understand this moment, we have to enter into the language itself. The English translation, "do not touch me," comes from the Greek phrase, me mu haptou. And here, translations have quietly done us a disservice for centuries. The verb haptomai does not simply mean to touch. It means to attach oneself, to cling, to hold fast, to seize. It is not a light brush of the fingers. It is a grip that refuses to let go. But the most important detail is the grammatical form. In Greek, the present imperative with the negative me does not mean do not start touching. It means stop doing what you are already doing. Stop clinging, stop holding on, let go. It implies that Mary has already seized him. She is holding on to him, perhaps to his shoulders, his hands, his garments. She is clinging with the force born from 2 days of unbearable grief. And Jesus does not tell her that she is unworthy to touch him. He does not say that his risen body is too holy for human hands. He does not draw back in coldness or rejection. He gently tells her, "Let go." The King James Version renders it as, "Touch me not," a phrasing that sounds abrupt, almost severe. But modern translations come closer to the meaning, "Do not hold on to me," or "Do not cling to me," "Do not seize me," "Do not grip me." This is closer to what the Greek actually conveys. Consider what this means. This is not a moment of rejection. It is a moment of extraordinary tenderness. Jesus is not pushing Mary away. He gently loosens her grip. He is saying, "I see your love. I know your fear. But what you are holding on to right now is not yet the whole reality. You need to let go in order to receive what is coming." And then he gives the reason. And this reason is perhaps the most theologically rich phrase in the entire dialogue. "For I have not yet ascended to the Father." Why does the fact that his ascension had not yet taken place mean that Mary had to stop clinging to him? What would change after the ascension? Would his physical body disappear? Would he become less tangible? No. The key is understanding what kind of moment Jesus is referring to. He is not saying, "Do not touch me because I am untouchable until I ascend." He is saying, "The way you are holding on to me right now is based on who I was before. A rabbi, a traveling teacher, the one who walked through Galilee in a body subject to suffering and earthly limitations. You want to keep me here, in this garden, in this moment, and never let me go. But I am going where I will be with you in a way you cannot yet imagine. Stop trying to freeze this moment. What is coming is greater than what you are holding on to." The Greek word anabaino, "I am ascending," means to go up, to ascend, or to rise to a higher place. But in the Gospel of John, the ascension is not merely a geographical relocation. It is the completion of the mission. The entire Gospel of John is structured around Jesus' journey back to the Father. Mary clings to Jesus' physical presence in the garden because she fears losing him again. In her heart, she is thinking, "If I let go of you now, you will disappear forever. The last time I lost you, they killed you." And Jesus responds, "You cannot hold on to this, not because I am abandoning you, but because where I am going is greater than what you are trying to hold in your hands right now." And here comes the most beautiful turn of all. Jesus gives her a commission. Instead of allowing her to remain there, holding on to him, he makes her the first messenger of the resurrection. Go to my brothers and tell them. Notice that word, brothers. The Greek adelphoi means brothers in the fullest familial sense of the term. He does not say, go to my disciples. He does not say, go to my followers. He does not say, go to those who betrayed and abandoned me. He says, my brothers. If this study meant something to you, if John 20 has sounded different today than ever before, the most valuable thing you can do is subscribe. Every video on this channel takes the same careful approach to exploring the words, the language, and the people behind the text. Leave a comment. Even a single word in the comments helps other people discover this conversation. And there are people who have read this passage 100 times and have never noticed what we explored today. Share this with those who think the resurrection narratives are too confusing to be taken seriously. God bless you, and please remember us in your prayers.